Hey, 7th graders. Today we're going to talk about a summarizing strategy called Get the Gist. Sometimes people will say, hey, do you get the gist? And it means, did you understand what was going on? So this summarizing strategy that we're going to use is going to create a short summary. We're going to use the article from last week, the Men and Women in Stress article. Here are the directions when we do get the gist. You read the text. In this case, we're going to read part of it. Then you answer the questions who, what, when, where, why, and how. And then you create your summary. Sometimes it might actually be a sentence, might be more. But we want it to be precise. So, how men and women deal with stress, Lorna Collier. Job pressures, family crises, money worries. These are just a few of the things that can cause stress. Stress can take a toll not just on your mood, but also on your physical health. But how stress affects you can depend on whether you're a man or a woman. Researchers are finding that hormones and genes can have a big impact on how your body responds to stress. Men and women tend to react to stress differently and approach stress management in different ways. If you're a woman, you're more likely than men to experience such stress-linked conditions as panic, anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder, major depression, migraine, insomnia, irritable bowel syndrome, autoimmune diseases, and chronic pain. If you're a man, you have a greater chance of infectious diseases and hypertension, a risk factor for cardiovascular disease. You also are more likely to abuse drugs and alcohol and exhibit aggressive behavior. Overall, women report being more stressed than men and feeling more effects of stress, although this may be because women are more often seen by doctors and more likely to reveal symptoms. About 37% of women say they're stressed compared to 31% of men, according to a survey by the American Psychological Association. Women also reported higher levels of stress, and they were more likely to say they felt like crying at some point in the previous month, were nervous or anxious, were depressed or sad, and felt fatigued. These differences come even though men and women share some of the biggest sources of stress, with both genders rating money and work as significant causes of tension in their lives. Why men and women handle stress differently. So why do men and women respond differently? Researchers say hormones may be one factor. Men are more likely to react to stress by producing adrenaline and cortisol, which can create the fight or flight response, marked by physical changes such as sweaty palms and raised heart rate, as well as the impulse to either fight or escape a troublesome situation. Women's bodies also may produce adrenaline and cortisol in response to stress, but in addition they produce oxytocin, a chemical that can promote bonding and affection for others. Men produce oxytocin too, but at much lower levels. As a result, women are said to react to stress with a tend and befriend response, seeking to protect others in their lives and reaching out for social connection and support. Other hormones, such as estrogen and testosterone, may also play a role in stress response. Researchers are studying gender-specific genes, such as the SRY gene found in men, that is linked to the fight or flight response. Social and cultural factors may come into play too, with women often carrying more burdens when it comes to caregiving and sometimes holding stressful low-status jobs, for example. Okay, so that's where we're going to stop at the article. There's actually some more in the article, but I've stopped it there. And then we would go through and we would do the who, what, when, where, why, and how. And you'll see I've already done this. The who is men and women. Okay, so then you would ask yourself, men and women what? Men and women respond to stress differently. Okay. The when and where, that's really not in the article, and it's not really important. I mean, because we could say men and women respond to stress differently when? Whenever they have stress in their lives, or wherever they're at. So I'm going to leave those blank for this. The next one we're going to look at is why. Why do men and women respond differently to stress according to this article? And it's because of hormones such as adrenaline, cortisol, and oxytocin. And then the how is how do they respond? So I'm going back to, again, How do men and women respond to stress differently? According to the article, men respond with fight or flight, women respond with tend and befriend. Okay, so we fill out all of those, and then we put it together in a summary. It's pretty simple then. So here's our summary, or get the gist summary, we would say. And we want to start off with the article title. So in How Men and Women Deal with Stress, and because it's an article, we're going to put it in quotation marks. Short pieces have quotation marks. And then I also want to reference the author. So Lorna Collier states, and you can use any type of verb you want to, says, explains. Actually, explains maybe would have been better here. So Lorna Collier states that men and women respond differently to stress because of adrenaline, cortisol, and oxytocin hormones. Men tend to respond with fight or flight, while women respond to tend and befriend. Okay, you'll see short, precise summary. It's actually 41 words, so we're over the 20 to 30, but I don't feel like there's any words that we could take out of it, and it'd be a great summary. Okay, next thing you're going to do is I'm going to give you an article, and I want you to do the get the gist summary with it. So read the article, do who, what, when, where, why, how, and then put it together into a sentence or two. If you have questions, let me know.